This is largely a 2D animation channel. That's where I'm most comfortable. But today I'm gonna try Blender for the first time. I've dabbled in 3D animation before and even did a course on it over 10 years ago. But that was using Maya and I haven't really touched it since. So I'm essentially starting from scratch. Alright, I've gone as far as opening the program and that's it. So I'm just gonna see what I can do by myself here. We have a cube already placed. That's neat. First thing I want to figure out how to do is move the camera, like our view. Perhaps middle click. Yep, that works perfectly. Now, can I move this thing? Move. I figured out the move tool. Let's go. Alright, yeah, you can move one axis at a time. You can move more than that if you grab the middle. It is kind of confusing knowing where exactly you're moving it to. Am I jumping the gun by wanting to just animate this? You can see the timeline down here. I don't know how to make a new frame. Keying. B set snapped base. I don't know what I just did. I don't want to use auto keyframes. That could be annoying. No, I want to make this cube move and then I'm going to move on to like trying to make something. I want to add a keyframe without looking it up. Oh, I guess this is the camera, this black thing as well. Insert keyframe. This should work. Nothing selected. Okay. There we go. Now if I move this up, I guess I need to add one at the start as well. Surely? Nope. Now if I move it up. Okay, I do not know what I'm doing. Things aren't as simple as they seem. Why is this not as simple as keyframe, move the cube? It snaps back to where it started. Okay, I'm gonna not try to animate for now and just add a cube. Oh, it's not much of a cube. It's a rectangular prism, but I've done it. Wow, I can rotate it. I can scale it. Alright, I'm gonna try keyframe this. Plus, move it over here. Plus. Wait. Oh, it worked. Yo, I've animated a cube in 3D. I think what happened on the other one, I guess maybe it's because it's the default cube or because I pressed B and did something. I like locked it in. So if I rotate it here as well. Okay, yeah, you have to key the different elements separately. So if I add a key, rotate it like that, and add a key. Does that work? Yes. It's crazy. Let's try and model something. So, I've clicked from layout to modeling, and I can, lots of things down here. I can add a torus. Look, I've modeled a donut, just like that. How do I scale this all three at once? No, this is a perfectly fine size. I've selected a vertex. I can move that. So it's just got a big spike. So we can select vertex, edge, or face. Select the face, you can, ooh. I need to smoothen it. Whoa. Wait, why is the donut and cube are one object? Oh my god. Interesting. If I add a cone, they are all still one object. Can I delete the original cube? Yes. Right. I clearly have no idea what I'm doing, so I guess I'll do some research and come back.
So this is my first render from Blender. I didn't model the monkey head, that's one of the default things you can add. I made the hat, but it's literally 2 cylinders. I did manage to change the color, so that's cool. Now, moving on.
Alright, I've been playing around in Blender, getting used to the interface and tools. I've been following Blender Guru's tutorials. I'd recommend them. So I'm in the midst of making a donut. It's much better than the torus we just saw. Smooth, yet misshapen. Extend the radius, and then go like that. But yeah, now we're gonna make some icing for this thing.
First was the basic shape of the icing using a duplicated and cut donut as the basis and shaping the curves. Then I extruded some edges to create these drips. The bottom needed more volume where the icing pools, so you can do that with an inflate brush in sculpt mode. I started on some basic materials, giving the donut some pink icing and a classic doughy base. Then some texture painting so it actually looks like a donut. I put in this plane as a countertop with a marble texture. Now the sprinkles were quite involved. Using geometry nodes and weight painting, you can spread a whole lot of one object over a surface. So I did that with spheres and a few types of long sprinkles. Then shaded everything with nodes to get a good mix of colours and materials. Next I modelled a plate and stacked a bunch of donuts on top of each other. They had different rotations and toppings, so it wasn't just a boring copy and paste.
I've been working on these donuts for 3 days. I think it's coming along pretty nicely though. All I have left is lighting and compositing and rendering, and then it should look pretty sweet in more ways than one. Something went wrong at some point and I couldn't get these sprinkles to go further than like here. Yeah, I don't know why my weight painting stops at that point. I don't want to deal with it, so this looks fine. I decided to make this one shiny. It's like a golden caramel thing.
So I worked on the lighting, put everything in a fake room, and added some objects to the scene. Then a bit of compositing using more nodes. Last thing was animating the camera and adding depth of field before a long render.
Alright, I finally finished these donuts. I mostly followed Blender Guru's tutorial. It's nothing unique, aside from the specific way I modeled the donuts and plate. Also my set decoration was a little different. But let's watch it. There you go. Looks quite pretty if I do say so myself. I'm quite happy with that. Obviously, it doesn't look super realistic. I think the lighting's good. Yeah, the icing I chose for this like orange and golden one is a bit strange. Looks a bit metallic, but I'm sure you could find icing that looks like that. Yeah, the one thing I don't really like is how extreme the flickering of these like light beams are. I couldn't really tell what it was going to look like before I rendered it, and then it takes like 6 hours to render. Also, it's pretty high quality, but if you look at certain spots like this cinnamon roll at the bottom right, you'll see some wobbling and glitching. I guess that's because I used 100 samples in the render, and the default is 4000. It's going to look super high quality with 4000, but it's going to take a lot longer. Also, I don't know if these are tiny spheres that happen somehow, or they're just so deep in the icing that they're barely poking out, but you can see like there's like tiny dots of sprinkles. I feel like I need to do something more on my own and more unique. So let's do that.
I wanted to add something to the scene, so first I fixed some of the issues it had. The plan was to animate a pre-rigged object or character because trying to model and rig that myself felt like too much too soon. Now, I tried adding various rigged characters, but every time it would come up with this horrifying otherworldly being. It took me way too long to figure out that it was because I had the sprinkle collection selected in the side panel, so it was treating it as a single sprinkle and spreading it all over the donut. At least I think that's what was happening. So I eventually imported this ball. I figured it was best to keep things simple. I played around with the materials and landed on this half-transparent, half-turquoise mini bouncy ball. Then I tried to animate it bouncing across the screen and off of the cinnamon roll, with rotation and squash and stretch. I didn't record anything after this, but I also added 2 other balls rolling across the counter and learned how to animate the depth of field. So that's the final product. Going into this, I had no idea what I was gonna do, but I think this looks much better than I expected. I'm not sure how much knowledge I retained, like I couldn't do this all again without help, but I definitely learned a lot. Now, I don't think this is gonna be a 3D exclusive channel anytime soon. It did reignite an interest though, and I'm sure this won't be the last Blender video. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.